Hello, Pisces. This is your weekly reading for March 9th through the 15th, 2020. I'm Art Kozak. This is Art Kozak Tarot. Thank you for being here. And Pisces, I also want to thank you for having whatever it is you're going through. You have a relatively clear reading here. I want to preface this video, as I have others this week, by saying that, again, the readings that I do are not necessarily just love readings. They are built and performed in such a way to hopefully speak to the major issues that are coming up for you in your life. And so if that's a romantic issue, if that's a professional issue, whatever it might be. And a lot of the times what they have to speak to are more personal and pervasive issues, your life journey in general, and specifically your life journey. And I think there's a lot of that involved, but in what you've been going through. But I also see some fairly clear signs that you have been going through some romantic issues. And yeah. So what you're looking at is what you're aiming at, what this whole cycle is trying to do for you, is bring you to a point of temperance. And the temperance card is on the table. As I've said before, temperance can often be an enigmatic or even confusing concept in the tarot unless you kind of just read it for the surface meaning. Temperance, being temperate, tempering things, bringing them to a point of refinement, as other readers have put it, and not going to extremes, bringing things to a point where they don't have to go to extremes in order to be good, healthy, and productive. And so that's what this whole cycle is bringing you to. I see in the past, you've experienced some, there was a hard battle you had to fight with somebody, and it was a very passionate one. This is, the cards I'm looking at here would very clearly symbolize a kind of a knockdown, drag out, as they put it, a shouting match, a very just passionate conflict between yourself and another person. And this was a win-loss battle. When I say a win-loss battle, I mean you won some out of that, and you also lost some out of that. The wins and the losses for you coming out of that were very clear. Clear boundaries were set, but it wasn't a pleasant experience. This may have had to do with money. There was money involved, or at least material well-being involved. I think, from what I'm seeing, I think maybe you were willing to be a little bit more generous. Now, whether that's financially generous or a generosity of the heart, materially generous, you were willing to be generous in this situation, but once the fire got started, it just blazed out of control. And that left you more recently with a broken heart. You've experienced a broken heart. The ending of a relationship, the ending of probably a romantic relationship, probably a big one, is what I'm looking at here on the table. And it did involve a rejection. If this was a rejection of you, I'm sorry. If this was your rejection of someone else, I'm sorry. But this had to do with someone just saying, hey, I'm bored with this. I don't want this anymore. And that kind of hurt. And so what's going to go... But this cycle is now complete. That's what the cards are saying. Is that this was the completion of a cycle. This part of it anyway. And so something has completed. That's good. Because you've had some difficult circumstances here. And again, you want to reach a point of temperance, of a temperate life where you don't have to experience this kind of conflict anymore, where you don't have to experience these kind of out of control emotions and passions, where you don't have to get your heart broken anymore, or find yourself in situations where you're disgusted with something, or someone else is disgusted with you. You don't want to find yourself in those situations anymore. You're willing to do what you got to do to make that happen, honestly. Whatever it is you got to do to make that happen, you're really in your head about it, and you're really strategizing about it. But what's going to come up for you in the coming week? Well, first of all, I see a resurgence of strength. And when I say strength, I don't necessarily mean physical strength. I mean the strength of your personality. Your personality is going to reassert itself. And this is going to be very good and make you feel very happy. Going through these battles, going through these these trying times, can really, from what I'm looking at, it's the kind of thing that can really chip away at a person's ego. And the ego, even though it gets a negative connotation a lot of the time, and it is negative when it gets out of control, the ego is the part of your psyche that helps you be in the world. That's yourself. That's yourself in the material world. And when that is chipped away at, it's repressed, it's overtaxed, just a little bit of healing for you is going to help you reassert that. You're going to reassert your personality. You're going to be pretty damn happy about it. And I think you're going to get to work. You're going to be ready to get to work. And whether that means getting to work, putting yourself more into your daily work, like your profession, or really just working on your life, you're going to be ready for that. Whatever the sustained effort is that you need to put in, you're going to be feeling that energy and just ready to go with it, starting out really early in this coming week. Near the end of the week, I think that you are going to, and this is probably in a professional sphere, or it may be in terms of schooling. If you are in somebody who's in school, or if you're making an investment in your future, you're making an active investment in your professional future, your material future, doing something like going to school, it's probably in this context, you're going to have to deal with somebody who's probably an authority figure, maybe an authority figure over you, or somebody who just wants to be an authority figure. Somebody who is very sharp, somebody who can be very diplomatic most of the time, but can also be very cutting and very, very my way or the highway, if that's what they choose to do on any given day. You may find yourself going through kind of an evaluation process with this person. You may need to just stop and evaluate the process you're going through with this person, because neither one of you are going to budge, okay? That's the message of the cards, is that neither one of you are going to budge. Whatever the conflict or potential conflict is, I don't see an actual conflict breaking out, but what I do see is that you're going to have your point of view, and this other person is going to have their point of view, and you're just going to have to go ahead and understand that. That's some advice coming up for you for the coming week, especially later on in the week. So, what is the overall result of this week? First of all, before I speak to that, I want to speak to your social sphere, because we've talked about at least one person that you may be interacting with in the coming week, and potentially some people you have interacted with previously. I also, in addition to this person you're going to have this stalemate situation with, I also see you dealing with potentially a business investor or some kind of an investor. I think there may be somebody who's willing to invest in you on a material level, whether that's through a grant or a scholarship or some kind of material support, or just simply someone who is willing to be there and give you the encouragement, give you the boost that you need, give you the promotion that you need. I really see somebody coming into your life or being a part of your life who is not necessarily going to save the day for you entirely, but they're definitely going to give a big boost to that investment that you're making for yourself and your material future. This is going to lead to prosperity, okay? Going forward after this week, this is going to put you into a place where you are more prosperous. You're both more prosperous and more passionate. And I laugh because the one of the clarification cards I pulled here was the devil. The devil is not always bad, but he is typically dangerous. The devil can represent, in the context that I'm looking at here, some material prosperity that can be pretty fun for you, a little devious, but not necessarily bad. Just be on the lookout for that. I think that as long as you don't overindulge in any vices, prosperity can lead to the temptation to overindulge in vices. Indulge in them a little bit, maybe, but not too much. I do think that there's going to be a wish fulfilled for you coming up after this whole cycle, after this coming week has transpired. That's going to set your passions aright. Okay, your passions are going to be in the right place instead of the wrong place. So I hope something that I've had to say here is helpful to you in the coming week. I hope you like, share, subscribe this video. Feel free to comment in the comment section below. Also in the description box below, there's a link to our Patreon page if you're interested in checking that out. Once again, I'm Art Kozak, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.